Welcome back, everybody, to the Success Partner Podcast. I'm your host, Daya Naef. And today we have Michael Koeppel in the studio. And I know Michael pretty well. We met through a group called the Academy of Court Appointed Neutrals. And Michael is a professional valuation expert. And I'm super excited to have him on the show so he can share more light on that. If you're not always in that industry or working with that industry, you might not know. So, Michael, do a quick introduction for us.
Certainly. Thank you, Daya. I'm Michael Koeppel. I'm the managing director and co-founder of Lakelet Advisory Group. We focus now for 23 years on complex business valuations, primarily for court cases and also for those cases that are in bankruptcy or distressed. My personal claim to fame is that I work with a lot of intellectual property. So it's very challenging because by definition, each piece of intellectual property is unique. So
Yeah, absolutely. By definition, it's very interesting. And you have a book. You have a book that just came out.
well, thank you. Yes, I've earlier, I shouldn't say earlier, just last month, I've published a book on the challenges and processes for estate and gift planning purposes. If anyone like to obtain a copy of this, or even a digital copy, please reach out to me, and we'll make sure that you're able to receive it.
Great. We'll have your contact information in the notes. So what's a myth that you've been hearing or that we know as a myth in valuation?
Oh, I would say the biggest myth is to utilize a standard multiple. For example, if you own a widget shop and the average, and they're published in numerous magazines, that the average multiple is 5 times EBITDA. So you're valuing your company at 5 times EBITDA. You're selling yourself so short because 5 times EBITDA may be a national average with the financing, without the financing. You have to take into the subjective nature of the company. For example, the most important thing from my perspective is the management. What are the potentials of the company? Is the company an upward swing, downward swing? There's so many of the subjective factors that have to be included to get a meaningful valuation. And it's the fact that these criteria are so subjective is very interesting right now, because we've recently took 6 business valuations that we did last year and had AI do them, and
Oh,
the results were so different. The differences can be traced back to all the subjective nature. Can AI crank out all the proper ratios? Of course it can. Can it do other? But it can't put the subjective nature of the company, the risk of the company into place. And those are really, excuse the old adage, what separates the men from the boys. And those take years of experience. You have to take into consideration the geographical region, the management, the relationship that you have with your suppliers. The relationship with the suppliers right now is paramount. I mean, first we had the challenges with the pandemic getting the
mhm.
supplies. Now we have the significant challenges with regards to tariffs. I mean, if you have a manufacturer, do you stockpile inventory right now hoping to beat the tariffs, or are the tariffs going to go down? You don't know. And it's the
You know.
uncertainty that has been playing havoc with a lot of the large companies right now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I've heard of people that had their companies almost to sale and then had to pull back everything because we're not sure. Like you said, give us an example if you can. Don't share names or anything like that, but give us an example of a complex situation that worked out successfully.
Well, one of the complex situations has been in a divorce matter, a very large divorce. I
Uh,
try to stay away from divorces so much as sometimes it has nothing to do with economics. It gets into the personal. One was a manufacturing company in Long Island, New York, where the father passed without an estate or plan and purposes other than to bequest his 2 sons get 50-50 of the business. Uh, it was and is a complete disaster because the sons don't even speak to each other, but yet they're trying to run the same company, and it's not fair to the management of the people. And they can't agree on an exiting amount or an exiting strategy, and because of that, the company has been hurt significantly in the last couple of years. So we worked with an arbitrator mediator to go in there and come up with a relatively fair market value given the situation of it all. And there's a lot of instances, for example, we work with a lot of universities where they have to get their patents appraised. Years before, there was no pressure, not a high degree of pressure with regards to the schools to publish. They publish it, but there's to sell the copyrights of the material and or the patents. They would just shelf a patent and say, okay, well, it is. But now with the pressure that the universities are having financially and the uncertainty again in the market with regard to the universities, they have to explore monetizing those patents, and we help them say this is what the patent's worth. Here's some strategic markets you want to attack with regards to that.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I have been learning more about that, about how many patents that our universities have for all kinds of things, anything from
Yeah, the one university that we're working with right now has over 700 patents,
that's amazing.
and that could be hundreds of millions of dollars easily that they can start monetizing. The universities and the colleges were not under pressure to worry about the money in the past. They either had an endowment or a state school, or whatever, but the uncertainties of the economics and realistically just good common business senses, you want to monetize those as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well. They're an asset and should be used appropriately. So Lakelet Advisory Group. So you guys have been around over 20 years. So what's it stand for? What do things mean to you there at Lakelet Advisory Group?
I think the things that mean the most to us is to take care of the clients, work on engaging projects. Uh, we work very hard to get the tangible results to our clients within 30 days. So many other firms, it takes forever to get it, and time is of the essence when you're in a business, or you require a business valuation, either because the company's distressed or the company wants to do a strategic exit. They shouldn't have to wait for us to go through the process. The other thing I'm very proud of is we've worked with so many different type of industries. I personally have worked within 34 different countries. So we do
Oh, wow.
not only national, but we do a lot of international work as well.
Mhm.
And the other thing that I'm very proud of is that the big accounting firms rely on us to work with them because they would have a conflict of interest if they were to do business valuation, because the business valuation has to be independent and accredited. Well, they can't be independent if they're also auditing the books or doing the tax returns. Since we don't get into the attestation function of the audits and that, they feel comfortable saying, okay, we can bring Lakelet Advisory Group along with them. We know them, they'll get the work done, and they're not in competition for us once they get their foot in the door.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then you also like boast a very quick turnaround time. How do you manage that?
We have a team of 17 professional business valuators, and we have enough bandwidth to do it, and we focus on that. The other thing is our experience in the industry. We don't do the cookie cut because every project and engagement is different, but we have enough experience between us that we can go through. And certain ones of us focuses on, for example, people in the medical area. We have two people who just do medical, so we have the expertise in house to flip it through and go through very quickly, and we provide a draft to all the parties. The only reason we don't provide the full report because, please appreciate, we're only dealing with this company for a month. There may be nuances we weren't aware of, so they take a look at the draft and they would say, "Oh, Michael, did you know this? Did you think about this? Or this client has this issue." So it helps us to do that, and we can get the draft turnaround from draft to final within a week.
Oh, that makes sense. And oh, okay, wow, within a week, and then they can look at it, and then it's sort of a partnership to get over the finish line from there.
And then usually the final step is once we get the report, is we spend a lot of time testifying in court with regards to the report. We do have a very high degree of credentials within the team I personally am the chairman of the New York State Society of CPAs for Business Valuations and Litigation Support. I've been doing that for 2 years. With regards to distressed companies, uh, before the pandemic, I was the chairman of the bankruptcy and restructuring committee for 6 years. So I'm very familiar with those processes, and also a technical advisor to other CPA firms and other business valuators, not just CPAs. The business valuation realm has really gotten away quite a bit. It's just not the pure accountants that do it anymore. There are specific specialties that may not even be accounting related that firms that get into the business valuation and are accredited.
What type of specialties does your firm work with?
I would say our specialties is distressed companies, intellectual properties. We work with a host of clients. I would say 80% of our clients are law firms because you can imagine in this environment, you as an attorney yourself, you know that when you go through it, that's who usually raises their hand and say, we got to get a valuation. We got to understand what we're dealing with. And having that rapport with an array of attorneys is fantastic. And that's why one of the many reasons I joined as you are in the Academy of Court Appointed Neutrals. It's ideal when both sides agree on a business valuation by an independent accredited business valuators in the court appointed neutral process. Otherwise, each party ends up with a valuator, and it gets very expensive and time consuming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, battle of experts, and then where do you go from there? And then the arbitrator will hire their expert, and
That's right.
then
Yeah.
yes, I see that. So, how do people get a hold of you to learn more?
Uh, Either our website, uh, lakeletag.com, or just send me an email. Uh, there's a form on our website for information, and by the next business day, someone will reach out and provide you with the person requesting information, and we'll give a follow up call and see if there's a good fit.
Wonderful. Well,
And if
thank you.
Yeah, and if there's not a good fit, we're not adverse just to talking to them, say, okay, this is what you got to take a look out. Beware of that. Although it's not a good fit for our firm, here's some people who can help you out, so you're not spraying and praying and hoping for the best.
Spraying and praying. Yes, it's a great visual analogy. Well, Michael, I want to thank you for coming on today. I think we have a good idea of what you do in your work and when we can use you out there. And I certainly hope that my audience takes you up on your very generous offer to talk more.
Thank you, Dan.
So this has been another episode of the Success Partner Podcast. I'm your host, Daya Naef. Please like, subscribe, and stay tuned.